back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking all about inline spinners, but I would also like to point out that right now we are at 246 subscribers right now. We need that 250 to get to the giveaway. But today's video is going to be all about inline spinners. Okay, so basically what an inline spinner is it's a spinner that's inline. Yeah, straight wire, no angles, nothing crazy going on. There's tons of different varieties of them. You've got rooster tails, you got the blue fox, you got your classic MEPs, Aguila, and just a plethora of all different blades do all kinds of different things. Different situations call for different weights, different blade shapes, etc. But today what we're going to be focusing on and talking about is one of my minor complaints about a lot of inline spinners, and that's the hooks. The hooks, they're good. I can't really complain about most of those hooks off the line, but it's more difficult, I think, than it should be to either replace the hooks or upgrade the hooks, because on most inline spinners, take this Warden's rooster tail right here. Well, this one's not Warden's, this is an off-brand one that I picked up. The hook is just attached straight to the wire body. Okay, I mean, we can grab like this Aguila that I just had out a second ago. Hook is attached straight to the wire body. Okay, so what I'll do is, Blue Fox is the same way too. It's hooked straight to the wire body. Here, let's just grab this big one because I know it's not tangled in there. Hooked straight to the wire body, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with this design. However, under certain circumstances, you're going to want to replace a worn out hook, or maybe your hook's broken and you don't really have a way to do that. So what I've been doing for a while is modifying them. And also, for those of you that have used Blue Fox, they do come with a single hook. After you cut the treble hook off, they give you a single hook with it. Okay, now this, it's got a split in it. There goes my microphone. Okay. Alright, hopefully that doesn't mess with sound too much. Anyway, so right here, as you can see, it's got a gap in the hook. So after you cut the treble hook off the wire body, you put this on and then you crimp it down. I'm not totally in love with that. Plus, if you, like here in Washington, we have restricted rivers where we'll have restricted gear, so you won't be able to use, say, like a treble hook, okay? Or maybe you can't even use barbs. Has to be a single barbless hook. Well, that rules out everything in front of you. All of these great baits, none of them are barbless. Majority of them, you can't really do a single hook, let alone single hook and barbless. So what I do is, and I'll use this as an example, this is a 3/8 ounce white Warden's rooster tail. I'll pull this back, and just like with anything else, you're just going to very carefully try to keep most of that skirt on there, and I'll show you why here in a second. So you take it, cut that hook off. Sometimes they're easier to cut off than other times, but you want to try to leave as much of that skirt as you possibly can. Oof. And watch out for the wire body. Do not cut the wire body, because then it's pretty much helpless. Alright guys, that's a good hook. This one, they took the solder down pretty far. Let's see if I can get it with these needle nose. They're a little bit better than those old wire cutters. There it goes. Okay, also watch out because these things they explode off there. So what we're going to do, and this is something I've worked out over a while of doing this, is you're going to take a number 2 split ring. I just use the regular guys from Bass Pro. They're stainless steel, size number 2. There's 144 in here. I think I paid like $7 for this, maybe not even that much. Maybe it was like $3. It's not very expensive for split rings. Now, if I was fishing for something bigger than like most trout or even salmon, something that I'd be worried about digging down deep into cover or something like that, I would upgrade. But I haven't really had a problem with that. And my split ring pliers are conveniently MIA. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a jig head. And we're going to use another hook to split the split ring open. I actually think my split ring pliers, I think they fell out of my kayak last time I went fishing, unfortunately. But that's also a downside to going in a kayak, is sometimes stuff falls out. Alright. Got that opened up enough. So what I like to do is take that split ring, now it's open. See, it's open. I don't recommend doing this. Don't do this unless you know and are willing to shove a hook through your hand. For the sake of the video, and for the sake of not having to wait till I find my split ring pliers, we're just going to go with it. We are just going to go with it. Just put that right on there. Now the skirt on the actual rooster tail itself, now that I've left majority of it on there, does make this a little bit more difficult to be able to see what you're doing. Once again, I don't recommend doing this with a jig head. Don't do this. Okay, so I got that split ring started on there. So before I get too much farther, just want to make sure it's actually like on there. I'll remove the split ring plier. Don't do that. But if you're in a pinch, just saying, works. So this originally, okay, yeah, we got plenty of room. So this originally, this hook that came off of here, where did it go? There it is. So this hook was bent out pretty badly right there. Not super bad, but I mean, these hooks have a service life, alright? So this hook was roughly a size number 6. So when you upgrade your hooks, or if you're just changing your hooks, I like to use these Mustad feather treble white hooks. And I like the red ones, okay? These ones are pretty sweet. I will admit, I have broken plenty of these. That's actually what this is. It's a broken one of those. The red ones. Now, these ones are cool. The reference number is 233BLNW. Okay? 2 of them in a pack. I think the pack is like, they're kind of expensive. I think the pack is like $4 or $5 just for two hooks. But these ones, okay, these ones are cooler. So it's kind of an EWG style. So if you do get like a hit or something like that, and it gets off like a traditional treble style hook, so we'll just put these side by side here real quick to show you. So you see how the points on this one are pointed more inward than the points on this one, especially that bent one. It's an EWG style hook, kind of. Not quite, but it is. It definitely helps with keeping them hooked, keeping them pinned, because, you know, trout like to jump, they like to fly. They're an aerobatic fish. So you're just going to take that guy, because we've already got the split ring started here, and we are just going to slip this right next to it. Watch your fingers. Don't want that slip ring to slip out either off the wire body. Just going to grab this with my pliers real quick, do this the safer way and the easier way, because this might be a bit of a challenge because this is quite a bit larger. Okay, got it. Spin that around a little bit. Loosen up your pliers. Grab another portion. If you lose a little bit of the feathers off the wire body, off the rooster tail, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. So, other than the fact that I'm putting a better hook on here than was ever on here, the other upside to this is you're taking a smaller lure and you're making it a bigger presentation, okay? So on a 3/8 ounce, a number 6 hook, I mean a 8-inch guy could get this in his mouth, okay? Now that it has a bigger presentation, a lot like this 1/2 ounce guy, which has, I think this got a number 2 hook on it. It's huge. This is so much bigger presentation going through the water, and it looks so much bigger. Those smaller fish, they'll nip at it, but they won't be able to take it. And you don't want to hurt the little guys with a hook that's too big. So something like this will either, 1, deter them, or 2, they'll just be nipping at the wrong parts of it because it's so big. Alright, now a big guy, let's say like a 14-inch trout up, will nail this and you will hook them properly. Okay? And with this EWG style hook, that'll help with that, keeping them hooked. No matter, like, if you've got to move around a bank, you're on slippery rocks, and you just need a second to pull yourself together, or work around an obstacle, or you just need to fight the fish a little bit to get yourself into a position where you can properly land it, this will help drastically with that. Plus, these older inline spinners, that there's absolutely nothing wrong with them, they just have bum hooks, they live again. Okay? And, I mean, these hooks, inline spinner hooks, they're usually not treated, they're usually nothing fancy, and they get rusty and nasty, and then they stain the skirts, and then once you get rust on one, then everything tries to rust. And I'll do the same thing too for my Blue Fox guys if I need to change them. But yeah, number 2 I found is about the perfect size for these little wire loops. That's a bad example. Perfect size for that little wire loop inside there. Hides pretty well with the existing, what's left of the skirt. I mean, even if it gets pretty worn, like, it hides it pretty well, and it doesn't change the action. It doesn't really change the drag of it. It doesn't change anything. It still works properly. But now you have a way to change the hooks. And you can do this to any of them. I don't have any hooks small enough right now to change any of these little guys. But I do these too. I'll put a single barbless hook on those guys. You know, if I'm fishing restricted waters or whatever, this allows you to do that. Now, majority of my spinners that are in this box, I've already done this to, for the most part, except for the really little guys. Getting a hold of baby treble hooks in the appropriate size. Oh, I just knocked over the microphone again. Getting the appropriate size treble hooks for the little guys, I've found it to be slightly more of a pain than it should be. Mustad does say on their website they sell a single feathered hook, and they also sell it in a barbless. I haven't bought any yet. Usually when it's time to go to restricted waters, I've already got my set core baits that I throw that have already been changed to a single barbless. I just haven't went to go find the feathered barbless ones. Supposedly they make them. And I'll do the same thing too with the blue foxes. I'll do the same thing too with majority of these. Now the ones that I do not like doing this to are here we go. Here's a good example. So now you get your maps that already have a feathered hook on them, okay, like this one. I don't necessarily like changing these, okay. When these get worn, they get old, they get beat up. Then when they're absolutely destroyed, then I'll change them. But you cannot beat the marabou that they put on these, the way they tie these, and I haven't got all the equipment yet so I can tie them myself, and then I can do things like this. It's just like a simple fly tie. That's really all it is. But that's going to be on the agenda for this winter, is to learn how to do this and get the materials to do this, and then I can do a video and show you guys where I learned and what I found as mistakes. But yeah, dude, this inline spinners, I love them for trout. I love them for walleye. They work for, I've caught bass on them, awkwardly enough. If you're skilled enough, you can flip a rooster tail through some lily pads without too much hassle. You just have to keep it moving. But yeah, this is the hook upgrade right here. Number 2 split rings I found as the ticket, and then you just try to match that, whether it's like a giant size 2, like what I did on my 1/2 ounce, or if you're going down to like a size 6. And then the hook options from there are plentiful. Now if you don't want to go with a feathered one, you don't have to. You can do whatever you want. You can put singles on. You can put giant single hooks on, like they send you with blue foxes. Or this even gives you the ability that you can add skirts to like lures that you wish really just had a feathered tail. Alright. But yeah, take care guys. Tight lines, and keep it rocking. Experiment with things. Do things that are different. Work out things. Mess around with different lures. Change things up. That's what I do. None of my spinners do I ever throw away. I just use them for spare parts. I make my own spinners too. And I'm getting ready to do a couple videos on that when I get like a batch of stuff together, materials and whatnot. But take care guys. Tight lines. I'm going to have to trim the back of this video off.